I got most of my musical performance training from San Francisco Youth Symphony, and I didn't do my undergraduate. I went for a year and then got a job in Hong Kong. I learned a lot there. That was great because when I went there, I was hired as the assistant timpanist, percussionist, which is a position I followed me. I kept getting that position in every other orchestra, including this one when I first got here. And as soon as I got there, the timpanist somehow got ill. Basically, I didn't see him for the rest of the time I was there, so I played timpani the whole time. So I really got all this great experience. And the conductor then was Kenneth Skirmerhorn. He was conductor of Nashville, and he just passed, actually, 2 years ago or so. He was great. He was kind of a, very emotional and, couldn't really contain himself. And he was good for me in that he wouldn't hold back, and that he made, he was that kind of conductor that would make you feel small a little bit. And so for me, it made me, make sure that I wasn't a standout. So I was over-prepared and kind of learned how to prepare from, There's something to be said about, conductors who bully their orchestras. Everyone says, you can't do it anymore. It's so politically incorrect. But it actually can make you stronger. I mean, it made me stronger anyway. My parents were begging me to come home and wanting me to get some kind of degree. And so I knew Roland Koloff, who was the timpanist of the New York Phil and who was at Juilliard. And so I called him and asked him, could I finish at Juilliard? And he was great. It was one thing to get performance experience, and then there's a whole different experience when you want to audition. So I had to get back into that mindset because I couldn't audition from over there. It was impossible. It's a 20-hour flight, and you're a wreck. But when I went back to Juilliard, it was really for me to not get more performance experience, but it was really to have that other mindset of trying to figure out how to win another job. Which never was really too difficult for me. I mean, I did okay with it, but I basically didn't play in the orchestra at all at Juilliard. I played one concert, Beethoven 9, only because if I didn't play one concert, I'd fail that course. And so I did that, and I'd played it before a few times. We actually took it on tour when we were in Hong Kong, so I knew it really well. And so, they were happy with that, and I was happy to do it, but I really was in the practice room at least 10 hours a day. I almost got thrown out of school for practicing too much because there was never enough practice rooms at Juilliard. Back in those days, there was 2 rooms and there was like 14 people. So where are you going to practice? So I'd go in the bathroom and I'd practice, and that was too ringy and loud. And so there was a whole wing of Juilliard that wasn't used. And it was the American Ballet room, and they had left. And I was like, these rooms are perfectly fine. So I'd roll my xylophone down there. If it was locked, I would figure out a way to get in. And, I'd play xylophone for 2 hours. And so I got caught because there was a janitor next door trying to sleep in one of the rooms. And so he went and reported me. And so I got called in, and they were actually angry at me for practicing. And I couldn't believe it. It was the most ridiculous meeting I've ever been to in my life. It's like, so wait a minute. You're going to threaten me because I was practicing what you're kind of supposed to do at Juilliard. So I thought that was hilarious. And then they thought about it, and I was like, wait a minute, we might have our priorities mixed up here a little bit. Maybe we should get on the janitor. On the day of graduation, there was an audition for the Honolulu Symphony, and I took it and got that. So it was nice timing in that, I had a job on graduation day. So I had never taken from Vic, actually, ever. I'd never known him, before this even. I mean, I knew of him because I bought his sticks when I was like 5 years old. Everyone has his sticks. Those were the only sticks to get, really. So I grew up with that, with this sort of iconic figure, and then seeing him, I was more sort of speechless than anything else. And he's, very, very approachable, easy to like kind of person, so it didn't take long. But before I'd won this job, he didn't know me and I didn't know him, really, as far as our playing goes. So I felt good about getting into this orchestra because there was, I was no connection with anybody here. And it was just, felt good to just win it from your playing standpoint, which is the way it should be, I think. My non-musical story is at Tanglewood, and this affects every one of my colleagues. And you know, if I had it in for him, it would be great revenge, but I don't. But anyway, we have a dog, and as you know, at Tanglewood, there's various wildlife running around. So our dog was out. I was out with the dog, and it was about 11 p.m. The dog runs behind the house, and I hear, "Arr!" And I was like, that sounds a little funny. Doesn't sound right. And I see my dog running with her face on the grass, running with, you know, trying to wipe something off. I was like, oh man, this has got to be not good. I get up close and yep, it's a skunk. She got nailed right in the face. And so what do? I go up to her and I grab her. So now it's all over my hands. And so then I drag her inside because I'm going to throw her in the bath. And what does Kathy do? My wife, who's in the BSO, she sits in the front, I sit in the back. She grabs the dog too. Now it's all over her. So it's all over both of us and we reek. It is, I don't know if you've ever smelled it up close and personal, but it smells. It's bad. So I go to the market and I try to get stuff to get it all out and nothing's working. I mean, I'm trying every remedy, you know, tomato juice, all that stuff. It calms it a little bit, but you could see us coming for a mile or smell us coming. So the next morning is a rehearsal, an open rehearsal. And she's in the front, I'm in the back, and sure enough, halfway through the rehearsal, conductor's going, stops, and he's like, what is that smell? And the whole orchestra is like, yeah, what is that? And I immediately raise my hand and say, that's me. And Kathy said, that's me too. And so our colleagues weren't mad. What do? All of them come up to us like, and everyone has a remedy. It's like coffee grounds, tomato juice. So anyway, that's the one time I stopped the rehearsal because I didn't screw up my playing, but I just, you know, we couldn't breathe, basically. So this is an organization that my wife got really passionate about, and I've jumped on board as well. It's basically a company that provides clothes and toys and pretty much anything to kids in need. It's an amazing organization. They're out in Brighton, and they rely fully on volunteers coming in and helping. And they have, you know, the warehouse is huge, and they basically have people sorting clothes, putting clothes packs together, cleaning toys, fulfilling orders, and at any one time they'll have 200 or 300 volunteers in there, you know, every couple hours, especially on the weekends. It's packed. I go there with Kathy and my 3 kids, and we all go there and do some sort of volunteering for them. And Kathy has taken it a step further in that she's going to fundraise by doing a benefit concert for them, which is coming up in a couple months, actually. And she's also on their marathon team to raise money. There's about 20 people who get involved. It's a really fantastic organization. I think Keith Lockhart is involved with them as well. And they're just a great group of people too. And it's you know, if you have kids, it's you know, even if you don't have kids, it's a great cause.